It's that time of year where I rank every single Pixar movie. What's going on, guys? I'm Chris, and welcome back to another video. So today I've got my tier list ranking of every single Pixar movie. There are now 29 with the release of Elio. Got my tiers. I'm going to go through and rank these. You guys know the drill. Before I get into it, hit that like button, comment down below your ranking of all 29 Pixar movies with Elio, and of course, subscribe to that notification bell to help reach my goal of 150,000 subscribers here on the channel. It means quite a bit. But without further ado, let's just go ahead and dive into these tiers. The tiers I have are S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier, and F tier. Your standard tiers for Pixar movies, and they're fully randomized, but I did go ahead and put Elio up front because it is the new release. I've actually got a review you should check out, linked up above, for like my full in-depth thoughts. But when it comes to this movie, it's just forgettable, and I shouldn't be saying that about a Pixar movie in the year 2025. This is a studio that's known for making some of the best original animated films ever, and it seems like they've fallen from grace a bit recently in that field. So with Elio, it has, a concept that I appreciate, this idea of a kid who's feeling alone in the world, and it tackles that idea of loneliness, but by the end it makes us realize, hey, there's always someone out there for you. We're never truly alone. The, wishfulness of a child, I guess you could say, the sense of wonder and awe where kids have these big dreams to, be an astronaut, a movie star, whatever it may be when you're a kid. That's kind of what Elio is like. He's obsessed with space and aliens. So there are ideas here that I think on paper work, but the execution fails miserably. The movie has really no likable characters or developed characters by the end of the movie, and so it's kind of just one of the most bland Pixar movies we've gotten in a long time. And it's been a couple days since I've seen it. I'm already forgetting it, which is never a good sign. So while I could say this is a C tier movie, I'm going to go ahead and put it in D tier because I'm thinking ahead here. I'm thinking, like, when I revisit this tier list next year, will I have seen Elio again? Will I even think about it ever? The answer is no, so I'm going D tier with Elio. Just kind of a swing and a miss for Pixar, unfortunately. And a movie that went through hell in production. There was like a whole different version of this film as it got a trailer back in like June 2023. The movie comes out 2 years later. It's completely changed. Sounds like it was just a complete mess behind the scenes. Hopefully they can move on from this and learn moving forward and get back to greatness with original films. Next up, we've got Coco, Remember Me. Get your tissues ready because, man, this movie pulls on the heartstrings big time. It's one of the most gorgeously animated Pixar films, as you can see here on the little poster. I mean, the orange, the purple, all the colors are popping in this film. There's this rich culture portrayed throughout the film, and it's just a fun Pixar film that's also quite sad, but it features one of the best twists in the entire Pixar filmography. This is just an immersive story that highlights, Dia de los Muertos, the culture, all that stuff. It's fresh, it's fun, the music's catchy, but it will really make you cry by the end. So it's got all the staples of like a Pixar classic. It's not outright S tier for me, but it's so close. I'm going A tier with Coco. Truly a special movie that's almost 10 years old. What the hell? That's weird to say out loud. Next, we got Toy Story, the one that started it all for Pixar. You guys already know this is an S tier movie. I'm putting it up there right now. It never gets old. It flies by every time you revisit it. The only knock on this movie, I guess, is the animation quality. But for this being the first Pixar film, of course the animation is going to have advanced tons since it came out. So I still believe this is like gold standard when it comes to storytelling in animated form. The story of Woody being jealous with a new toy Buzz, but then the two of them get stranded from Andy and they have to find their way back. It's classic stuff. Every kid grew up watching this movie, and it tackles that idea of what do our toys do when we're not home. It's genius, and it created this world unlike any other at the time. Toy Story is a classic, a bona fide Pixar classic, and of course, it's going to be S tier. Next, we've got The Incredibles. What if I told you this is one of the best superhero films of the century? I'm going to say it with my chest. I'm putting this in S tier as well. I think I lean... Actually, I don't know. This is tough. Do I go Toy Story or Incredibles? I think actually today, I'm going to give the slight nod to Incredibles 1 over Toy Story 1. So I'm going to put Incredibles up there. I mean, this movie is fantastic. Is it inspired by the Fantastic Four? You could argue that, certainly, but it's a fresh, fun superhero flick that's pretty mature for a Pixar film. It came out in 2004. It's rated PG. There were some intense moments. It's got maybe the best Pixar villain at times with the character of Syndrome. Sure, he follows, this villainous trope we've seen before of a character who looks up to someone in Mr. Incredible, and then he's let down by them. And you know what they say, never meet your heroes. He makes it then like his lifelong journey to bring him down. So great villain, love the superhero world, the originality. It's directed by Brad Bird. Movie flies by, it's highly stylized, there's some really cool action sequences, and it's just a fun superhero world in Pixar. Like the early 2000s for Pixar, those movies excelled at each one having their own identity, their own visual style, and their own worlds that they create. So kudos to The Incredibles for staying the test of time for over 20 years now. It is a gem of a Pixar film, and an S tier for sure. Next we got Cars 2, stinker. I rarely revisit this, it's F tier for me. Just not a fan, and it's highly forgettable. I think of all the Pixar movies, you could argue it's the least memorable. Aside from one other one that I'm going to talk about, this movie has really no value and makes like Tow Mater the main character. You've got British spies introduced. What are we doing here? Get out of here. Get out of here. Next, we've got Inside Out 2, sequel that came out last year. Did over $1 billion, rightfully so. I'm going to put this in A tier, guys. I think this is one of their strongest sequels. I'll go behind Coco in A tier, but I haven't revisited this one since theaters. I need to. But I just appreciate how mature this film was, right? Like, when the first one came out in 2015, people who were, you know, kids at that age, like, say, 7, 8, 9, they aged nearly 10 years, and then they went and saw this sequel, and this one handles a lot more mature emotions, anxiety at the forefront, and so I appreciate that it respects the original audience who grew up watching the first Inside Out. I was 15 when that first one came out, so I'm 25, I guess, right? Yeah, 25, 24 when that sequel comes out, and so it pulls on the heartstrings like classic Pixar, but it handles some, again, really mature emotions. Like Riley has a full-on panic attack at one point, and so it tackles this idea of change and going into the next phase of life, and so I appreciate it for that. Inside Out 2, a movie that I respect for growing up with the audience, tackling more mature emotions, and I hope we get a third that maybe even shows Riley going off to college or like graduating high school, one of those two, so we could have a trilogy that tackles Riley's different emotional battles throughout the different, you know, parts of her life, from the first film to second to third. I think it could be a really great trilogy when it's all said and done. But Inside Out 2, I'm going A tier. Next, we've got Turning Red. To me, this movie's highly forgettable. I know there are a bunch of fans of it. I went straight to streaming, and I think that shows. Like, unfortunately, there is a stigma around straight to streaming films, and to me, this is one where I'm like, yeah, I watched it one time, probably never gonna watch it again. I found a lot of the characters to be really irritating. I didn't understand character motivations. I understand the meaning behind the movie, but it just wasn't for me, and I also found it to be highly forgettable. So I'm going to go D tier with Turning Red. I think I prefer Elio over it. I mean, Turning Red just came and went for me. I know a lot of others enjoy it a lot more. I rarely think of this. I forget that it's even a Pixar movie, so D tier, we kind of move on from that. Next, we have Inside Out 1, which I do believe is an S tier film. It is special. I mean, this is one of the few Pixar films that never fails to get the waterworks going. It's got the, you know, bing bong death scene, which is some deep stuff. That'll make a grown man cry. And it's the first Inside Out film, the first one that, you know, introduces this concept of what are the emotions like inside of our heads. And forever, it changed the way that we view emotions. I mean, most Pixar films that excel as originals, they take everyday concepts in the world, everyday occurrences, and they recontextualize them in a way that you can never look at them the same, right? Here, they do that with emotions. And for me, Inside Out's special. Such a clever concept, hilarious movie, pulls on the heartstrings. I mean, it's got everything you want from a Pixar film. It's one of the last truly great originals from Pixar. I'm going S tier with it. I'll go with the back of S tier right now, but that first Inside Out, it holds up. I rewatched it last year before Inside Out 2, and man, does it hit. Next, we have Elemental. This movie, I always forget exists. It came out in the summer of 2023, so it was kind of buried by, you know, the Barbenheimer buzz and a lot of other big movies coming out that year. This is a fine concept. I do think it's a bit repetitive. Like, we've seen similar concepts tackled in other Pixar films, but Wade and Ember, they have a nice dynamic. There are some sweet moments. I wouldn't say this is outright D tier. I'd go like C tier. Middle of the pack to just being decent, so I'm gonna go C tier with Elemental, but it does stand out above Elio and Turning Red at least. Next, we have Finding Dory, a movie that I enjoy more than most. I find this is a lot lower on most people's rankings. It really does add a lot to Dory, giving us more of her familial backstory. Hank the octopus is a scene stealer, and it's just great to be back in this world. I think this is a fun sequel. Of course, it's not going to reach the heights of Finding Nemo. That's one of Pixar's best, right? But there's still a lot of fun to be had, and for me, I'm going to say this is B tier, which, you know, that might be too high for a lot of you, but for me, I'd say B tier for Finding Dory. I'll put it there right now. I just was happy to be back in this world. Yes, it's a bit of a step down, but I still think it's an emotionally mature sequel. And young Dory, I mean, you can't help but feel for her. Also, you got more creatures introduced. There are some actually hilarious moments. For example, when the truck flies off the bridge at the end, it's just like absurdly funny to me. It's got some great Pixar moments. I would obviously say it's a step down from the first, but most sequels in general are, so I'm not holding that against it. It's a solid, 7, 8 out of 10, so B tier feels appropriate for Finding Dory. Next, we have Toy Story 3. Ooh, this is as good as it gets, right alongside another movie we'll talk about in a second. I'm going S tier, top of S tier right now. Toy Story 3. You have my heart. I think it's the best of the trilogy. It has maybe the best ending to a Pixar movie, with Andy playing with the toys one final time, saying, so long, partner. It hurts like hell. This is a movie that resonates with me deeply because I've said this many times, I've opened up about it. I struggle with change, whether it's moving, whether it's going to a new, school or job, whatever it may be. Change scares me, and it takes a second for me to adjust. This movie reminds us that that's a part of life. It's a necessity in life. It's a must. It's necessary to grow and develop and evolve, but it is scary. And it's something that you have to just face head on. But at the end of the day, it's all going to be okay. It's part of life, part of the journey that is life. So Toy Story 3, a very special movie to me. On top of that, you've got the Sunnyside daycare setting, the introduction of Ken, Lotso Huggenbear, the best Pixar villain who's so well fleshed out. It is such a perfect ending to the Toy Story series, and I always will view it as the end of Toy Story, despite the fact that we have a 4th film and a 5th coming soon for some reason. This will always be the real ending of Toy Story. Now we have WALL-E next on the list, and I want to warn you, this is my hottest Pixar take, so you've been warned. WALL-E's never done it for me. I can acknowledge the gorgeous animation, I can acknowledge the emotional moments, but I do not resonate with this movie. I've never been able to since I was a young lad till now. It's just kind of a bore for me. And I totally understand what it's going for with the messaging about how we have to take care of the planet or society could be doomed and taking care of the environment. I get that. I support that message. I just do not need to see this long of a movie about it. WALL-E's cute. He's got a sweet relationship with Eve. The movie's dialogueless for a lot of the time. It's just, it's not my thing. It isn't my thing, and I acknowledge a lot of people hold this film in high regard. I never have. It's not like F tier to me. I don't hate the movie. It doesn't offend me to my core or anything like that. It's just one that I rarely revisit. It doesn't do it for me. So it's not S tier, it's not A tier, it's certainly not B tier. I'm gonna say I think I had it in D tier last time I did that. That was probably a bit too harsh. I'm going to throw it in C tier, probably leave it at the back of C tier for a lot of this video because I acknowledge the filmmaking and that many people respect this one. It's just one that does not do it for me personally. So I will go C tier. I think last time I had it in D and that really lit the fire with people in the comments. So I'll put a little more respect on WALL-E, but just know it's not one I go to all that much. Moving on, we've got Monsters University, one of the most underrated follow-ups in Pixar history. It's a prequel to Monsters, Inc. We get to see young Mike and Sully in their college days, partaking in these scare games. They're in a fraternity called Uzma Kappa. What's not to love? I don't understand the hate for this, nor do I understand the hate for Finding Dory. They're both very fun, solid follow-ups. I dig me some Monsters U, so much so that I am going B tier over Finding Dory. Monsters University, almost on the brink. It's like one of those almost top 10 Pixars for me. There are just a couple others that edge it out because we have nearly 30 movies now. And it's been, 30 years of Pixar? I mean, come on. This animation studio, I think, is as good as it gets, so there's going to be competition. Monsters U, though, I think, is a disrespected, underrated follow-up. I am down for a third Monsters, Inc. film to kind of cap off the trilogy. I know we got the Monsters at Work show. Haven't watched it. Don't know if I ever will. But Monsters University, put some respect on that movie. Next, we have Brave. I don't know if this is a hot take. I don't think it is. I think that most people agree this is low-tier Pixar. It's F for me. I think it's better than Cars 2, but it's another one that I never have the desire to revisit. It doesn't even feel like a Pixar movie. It feels like a mad to bad Walt Disney Animation Studios film, which is not what I should be saying about Pixar. I think Merida is technically an official Disney princess, which kind of astounds me. But this one never did it for me. All I remember is I think I was in 6th grade when the movie came out. 6th or 7th grade. I was in middle school. And the trailer had a line at the end that goes, "If you had the chance to change your fate, would ya?" And I don't know why. Teenage young version of me thought that was hilarious. And so I would just quote that with 2 or 3 of my friends in school like an idiot. We were sitting in the library in my middle school. I remember it vividly. And we would just consistently be saying, if you had the chance to change your fate, would ya? And it was just the dumbest shit ever. But we did it and we laughed. So that's life. The movie's bad. They turn into bears at one point. It's comically weird, but it exists, and I know people like it. It's not my thing. Next, we have the OG Cars, which is not the best Cars. Is that a hot take? I bet you it is. Look, Cars was one that I watched a couple times growing up. I was never on the Cars hype train. There are much better Pixar films. It's a cool world with, Radiator Springs, and people are going crazy for Cars. I'm sure that a lot of you watching this probably have Cars in S tier. More power to you. I've never been a huge Cars guy. I wouldn't say Cars is like D tier. I'll go C tier with Cars, though. I'll put it like right here in the middle. Actually, you know what? We'll go over Elemental. I'll put some respect on it just because, it gave us a couple bangers on that soundtrack, notably Life is a Highway, which I think that song has had longer legs than the movie itself. But Lightning McQueen's iconic. Tow Mater's iconic. I mean, the movie has some great moments. It's just, to me, a Pixar movie that falls a little more to the generic side. It doesn't reach the heights of some of the ones I have above it. So I wish that I could have this higher, but C tier's appropriate for me. Again, I was never a huge Cars head. Next, we've got Ratatouille. Anyone can cook, baby. Ratatouille has a special place in my heart. You guys know my adoration for this film. I hold it very highly. It's not only one of my favorite Pixar movies, it's my favorite Pixar movie. It's always been between Toy Story 3 and this. Ratatouille, I'm gonna come right out and say it is the best. It's a movie that inspires me. It reminds me anything is possible that I set my mind to. Chase that dream, live the life you wanna live. If Remy can cook, anyone can cook. Anyone can do anything they put their mind to. I'm going S tier with Ratatouille at the top. This movie's goated to me. And the score by Michael Giacchino, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. The song Les Festines, banger. I mean, everything about this movie, the Paris setting, it makes me want to visit Paris. Now, I don't know if I ever will. It probably romanticizes it all a little bit, but it also inspires me just in life. It's such a feel-good, uplifting movie that I remember seeing in theaters vividly. I laughed out loud when the one chef is like, I killed the man with this thumb. I thought that was the funniest thing ever in like 2007. I was hysterically laughing. So the humor holds up. There's so much heart, and it is just such an uplifting watch that reminds you to go live the life you want to live that I gotta go top of S tier. I think it is the gold standard of Pixar, which I know is a hot take to many, but Ratatouille, supremacy. Next, we've got Toy Story 4, an interesting movie. When I first saw this, full disclosure here, I liked it. Now, it has fallen off hard for me since I first saw it. It's not necessary. It's more of Woody's story than Toy Story, and those points have been made. I'm not making some revelation when I say that, but I've never viewed this movie as necessary. It's an epilogue to Toy Story. There's a lot of side characters introduced. Bo Peep has a more prominent role, but Gabby is like the villainous character. It does take away from the Toy Story of it all, because Buzz is sidelined, Jesse's sidelined. We don't get to see the original dynamic that's present in the trilogy. And so that's frustrating, forky, a little bit annoying. And honestly, this is just an unnecessary movie. It made $1 billion, so I get it. I don't know. I'm going D tier, guys. It's fallen off hard for me, hard. I'm gonna go top of D tier, but talk about a movie that, really has fallen from grace since its initial release. Next, we have The Good Dinosaur. To me, this is the worst Pixar movie. It's not even up for debate. This is by far the worst Pixar movie. It's a ripoff of like The Lion King and multiple other animated films. I couldn't name you a character because they're all so forgettable. This is a vanilla, boring, bland Pixar movie. I think it's the least Pixar out of any of their catalog, and to me, it is the worst. I'm putting it at the back of F tier. It's borderline unwatchable. Like, it's so boring and plays it safe so much. I remember the movie wasn't marketed all that much when it initially came out. It's a snooze fest, guys. I challenge you to go watch this and not get heavy eyes and try to stay awake. It is so boring, lacks any of the magic and originality of Pixar. It's gotta be F tier for me. But on the complete opposite end of that spectrum, we've got Monsters, Inc., which I think is like, again, I'm representing Monsters, Inc. right now. It's top tier stuff. I'm going S tier, I'm going mighty high, I'm going 3. So I'm going right here, over Incredibles, over Toy Story, over Inside Out. Monsters, Inc. is a special film, perfect 10 out of 10. Obviously, the relationship between Mike and Sully is a selling point, but it's another one of those original concepts from Pixar that just shines, screams, power the city. You've got the character of Boo introduced, and my God, does that relationship between Boo and Sully rip your heart out at one point in the movie. Randall is the villain here, voiced by Steve Buscemi. He's a little slimy little devil, isn't he? And I just like the world that we're thrown into. Super original, immersive, fresh. Monsters, Inc. I can't wait to have the ride at Hollywood Studios and to be, immersed into that world. So I'll be there whenever that opens for sure. But Monsters, Inc. supremacy. It's S tier for me all day. Next, we have A Bug's Life. The second ever Pixar movie. So I'm not too hard on this, even though it is kind of a retread of a plot we've seen a million times that was originated with like Seven Samurai, then Magnificent Seven. This is just basically a Pixar bug version of that template. It's fine. I'll go C tier with A Bug's Life. It's totally watchable. I put it like right here. Yeah, like right there seems fine for me right now. You know, it's serviceable. I would go watch it right now and be entertained, but it doesn't reach the heights of some of the, you know, more emotionally moving Pixar movies. It just kind of plays it safe. Next, we have Onward, which I believe to be the most underrated Pixar film in their entire catalog. I will die on the hill defending this movie. It came out 2 weeks before the pandemic, maybe even a week before, so it really got the short end of the stick. But this movie is a story of brotherhood. There's a sense of adventure at the core of it all, but it's a story of brotherhood. And these two brothers who don't have a father, they're trying to save him with this spell and like be able to see him again. But by the end of the film, the younger brother realizes, hey, my father figure all along is my older brother. And growing up as someone with an older brother, and I still have a close relationship with him, that gets me. Every single time it makes the tears swell. So this one just strikes a chord with me personally. It's very relatable, just having an older brother, and so I love it for that reason. There's also plenty of homages to Indiana Jones with like the gelatinous cube being the boulder, and I just appreciate the quest that we go on. I also love, you know, the mystical side of things within like Stranger Things, and there's definitely like some D&D type elements here, so this is just right up my alley, and I highly recommend checking it out if you missed this one. I know a lot of people still haven't gotten around to it. It's the forgotten gem of Pixar to me, and I'll die on the hill defending it, so I am going mighty high. I'm going A tier with Onward. In fact, I'm putting it at the borderline top of A tier. I'll go right there. It is a special movie that I think really got overlooked because the pandemic happened and then theaters shut down, which sucks, but I wish more people saw this because I love me some Onward. Next, we've got Finding Nemo. This is a classic staple of Pixar. It's a movie that I would say I've seen more than any other movie on this list, because when it was movie day or a rainy day in elementary school and the teacher didn't want to do anything, they would throw on Finding Nemo. If we had a school, you know, party or a pizza party or a bingo, whatever it may be, Finding Nemo was the movie that was on. And so I've seen this movie upwards of 50 times in my life, I want to say. I had it on DVD. At one point in my life, I had a Finding Nemo piñata for my birthday party. Like, this was the And so I've seen it so many times that as an adult, for a period there, I was like, I think I'm burnt out on Finding Nemo. But just because I've seen a movie that many times doesn't need to take away or diminish the quality of the movie. And I've realized that. This is an S tier movie. I think last time I had it in A tier. It's a perfect movie from Pixar. Next time I rewatch it on Letterboxd, it will be bumped up to a 5 out of 5. I think I have it at a 4.5 right now. It's a perfect film from Pixar. When I have kids one day, it will resonate even more deeply with me. But man, it shows the lengths that a father will go to rescue and protect their son. The side characters all serve a really important purpose. It's quotable, fun, there's a sense of adventure, you get a quest, but it's really just, again, a father-son story that resonates deeply. The score by Thomas Newman, I want to say, it's tear-jerking stuff, and so to me, this is a special original film from Pixar during their golden era when they were just releasing fire movies every year. I'm going S tier. In fact, I'm going pretty high in S tier. I can't go over Ratatouille or Toy Story or Monsters, Inc. I am going to go over Inside Out, I think. I'm going to go right here with Finding Nemo. That's a change. In a year, a lot can change, and I haven't even rewatched it. I've just rewatched moments, and I've realized, yeah, it's S tier for sure. Which, by the way, I know this is a top-heavy tier, but that's Pixar for you guys. I mean, they have so many 5 out of 5s, more than any other animation studio I can think of, so this is legit. Moving on, we've got Luca. Hot take, I know a lot of guys, people out there love Luca. Not a fan. I thought this movie was a bore until, like, the very end. Like the final act, I was like, okay. I was frustrated with the logic of the movie. I also thought the animation was fine. It didn't do much for me. Not very memorable. Again, went straight to streaming. I think that hurt in the long run. Maybe when I revisit this years from now, I could like it more. But I've always viewed this as like a meh, forgettable, whatever. I'm going D tier with it. I'll put it at the top of D tier probably. But yeah, maybe I even put Toy Story 4 over it. I think I prefer it to Elio, but what do I know? It's been so long since I've watched Luca, I'm like, I'm good. Next we have Toy Story 2. I think this is the weakest of the trilogy, but still an A-tier movie. I'm going right here with Toy Story 2. Man, it's really great stuff. You've got the whole, like, Zurg and Buzz dynamic, Al's toy barn, but the Prospector is a great villain here too. So there's some fun moments outside of Andy's house in this movie, whether that be the airport at the end or just Al's toy barn. So many cool moments that expand the world of Toy Story, and you get a lot of new characters who become staples here. You get Miss Potato Head, Jessie, Bullseye. I mean, it's a fun one, guys. It really takes Toy Story to another level as a franchise. So A-tier movie for sure. Next we have Soul. The era of straight to Disney Plus Pixar was the worst era. It's not even really arguable in my opinion. Soul is overrated. The score by Trent Reznor-Ross, it's great. I will give it that. But it's a movie that wants to be a lot more serious than it is. It's posing these questions of morality and what like the afterlife is. Really deep stuff for a Pixar film. And then there's like a body swap decision in like the middle act where like our main character becomes a cat. It's just dumb. That always took me out of the movie. And then it tries to reel you back in with this really, really deep emotional piano scene. And while, again, on paper, I think that works, it doesn't in execution to me. Soul's fine. I'll go C tier. It's a fine movie, but wildly overhyped in my opinion. I'm going to go like probably right. I think I would take WALL-E over it, to be honest with you. So yeah, Soul C tier for me. Next we have Cars 3. This is the best of the Cars movies. Does that make it great? No. But because I didn't get the best of the Cars movies, I got to put it over Cars 1, which means it's going right here. I just like the sort of Rocky take on it where, you know, Apollo Creed ends up training Rocky in Rocky 3. That's kind of what you got here with Lightning McQueen training the new racer, whose name's escaping me. But I like it the best of the 3 Cars films. The Cars trilogy, though, very mid. Let's be honest. It's mid. Doesn't mean it's bad, but 2 stinks. 1's fine. 3 is fine. Moving on, we've got Incredibles 2. Drop the the. I don't know why they got rid of it, but it should be called The Incredibles 2. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to put this in, I think, B tier. Last time I did it, I think I had it in B or A. It's a very solid sequel that, again, is critiqued a bit harshly because it's not The Incredibles. Not many movies are, and most sequels are a step down because it's just damn difficult to reach the heights of a first film, especially if that first film is fantastic, like The Incredibles is. So I am going to go B tier. I'm going to go top of B tier. I think it's the best of this batch of Pixar sequels / prequels. It expands the world with more heroes. Jack's got some cool powers here, and the villain's not as strong as Syndrome, but I think this movie gets just kind of thrown away and gets too harshly critiqued when in reality, it's a very fun follow-up in this world, and we need that third movie. Give us the Incredibles trilogy, please. I think it has been announced they're working on it, but we need that ASAP. Next, we have Lightyear. This is a real interesting one for me because I think I liked it when I first saw it. I gave it a 4 out of 5. That is not the case anymore. After that week when I had reviewed the film, I kind of took a step back, talked about it with some folks, and I was like, yeah, that's not all that. Now it's just a movie that has a 4 out of 5 on my Letterboxd that I haven't seen in 3 years and may never watch again. So I probably need to watch this one again to actually adjust the score accurately to what my thoughts reflect, because this is a very forgettable movie. It's a phenomenal concept, right? The movie that Andy watched in the Toy Story universe that inspired him to love Buzz Lightyear and go buy the Buzz Lightyear toy. So that's a great concept, but that movie needs to be a lot better than the one we got. There are some certain reveals in the third act that definitely dampen the overall experience, kind of kill the mood. While there are moments for this to shine, it's unfortunately forgettable. And, you know, I thought I liked it more when I initially saw it. That's not the case. 3 years have gone by, and I just never think about Lightyear, which is not a good thing. Now, Socks, the cat, the MVP of the movie. Guys, it might be D tier. Time is the answer to everything, and so as time passes, you never know how things are going to age, and this one hasn't aged well. So I'm going D tier with it, guys. I'm going to say it's like right here. That seems right. The final movie on the list is Up. This is a movie that everyone always is like, oh, the first 10 or 15 minutes are great, everything else is eh. The first 10 or 15 minutes are out of this world, everything else is amazing. That's how I view it. Up is an S-tier Pixar movie, and I know there's a lot of S-tier films up there, but guys, this is Pixar we're talking about. I'm going S with it. I'm going pretty high as well. I love me some Up. I think I'm going right here. I think it's a top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a top 5 Pixar for me. I'm going, yeah. Up is. Toy Story also, I mean, the placement of these is kind of arbitrary because they're all like 10 out of 10s if they're up there for the most part. So Up is S tier, just know that. I think there are some days Toy Story's over it, some days Incredibles is over it, but they're all in that top tier for a reason. If you've ever been in love or been in a relationship, it's gonna wreck you. Just thinking about growing old with someone and then them leave, it makes me want to cry thinking about it right now, how devastating this movie is. But adventure is out there, and persevering and finding that spark, that joy in life again, even at an older age. It's a beautiful tale, in my opinion. And adventure is out there is a motto that, you know, you can apply to your own life in various contexts. Just remembering, hey, life can be tough right now, but there is always something out there to look forward to. There's always an adventure to go on to make a memory that will last a lifetime. And this is a special movie for that reason. Pixar was in their bag in the 2000s, and I don't know if we'll ever get back to that level, that era again, but we can fondly look back on it and appreciate the greatness that we got from them consistently. But that does it for my tier list ranking of every single Pixar movie, including Elio. Let me know your ranking of all the movies down below, as well as which tier you would put Elio in, and of course, subscribe and hit that notification bell. Be sure to hit that like button, and if you want extra videos, you can actually find them over on my Patreon. Any support over there truly does mean the world. But that'll do it. Thank you guys, as always, for watching, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.